All right, we are live on YouTube. I just need for the video to connect over here on the other monitor so that I can grab that link and throw it into our group so that our community can conveniently join us live on YouTube and in the live chat. Okay, I got the link. We're going to grab that, put this in the, uh-oh, what happened to my, here we go. Put that in the chat so they can join us. Let's see, is that over there? It is over there. And let me make sure I can see the chat, and I can't. Cool beans. All right, everybody. Speaking of groups, if you are an entrepreneur that is spinning their wheels and struggling to get to your first six figures in business, then this morning show is just for you. But if you want to be in studio for this show and have the opportunity to take advantage of the hot seat to get your individual obstacles addressed, like Dr. LaFera and Kimberly and Cheryl and Tracy, Dr. Tachi and Shawana and Dawana, you need to be in the group, okay? This is just one way that you can take advantage of the value given by our group. So go to shaycannon.info/group to join us. We come together as a free business mastermind, giving you more than most paid masterminds. We have 3 pillars of value that we give. Number 1, we come together and build community with events like a virtual happy hour and a movie club night like we had last Thursday, okay? Number 2, we are intentional about collaborating to make each other's businesses better and to make money together. Last but not least, number 3, we have conversations that are transformational for your business growth, like free trainings and the subject matters of this here morning show, okay? So join us, shaycannon.info/group. All right, let's get started. Good morning. Welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. Everything starts with a blog, and this week's blog is at shaycannon.com/speaking. shaycannon.com/speaking, because what we're talking about this week is visibility and credibility through speaking for entrepreneurs. Okay, let me tell you how I came up with this. Y'all know I'm a vessel; it just be coming to me. Right. So we've talked about, getting the most out of visibility marketing through PR. We've even had an entire workshop on visibility marketing, okay? And all that is you being the personal brand, standing up as the expert and the thought leader to garner attraction and visibility and credibility, and then driving traffic to your offers, okay? So that's all that is. And speaking is a huge part of that, okay? Speaking is a huge part of that. And what I recognized as I was working on a project for our Dr. Latoya was that you guys may or may not know all the things you need to have in place out here trying to speak in these expert streets. So it gave me the idea that we need to break this thing down, right? All the things that you need to have. Now, some of the stuff you may have heard before, some of the stuff is going to make sense to you. You're going to be like, yeah. And some of it you might be like, I never thought about that. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So, speaking opportunities offer a powerful avenue for entrepreneurs to increase visibility and amplify credibility, especially when navigating the path to your first six figures. So, in a crowded digital space, standing out is essential, and few strategies are as effective as sharing your insights and your expertise directly with an engaged audience. The visibility gained from speaking positions you as a go-to expert, fostering trust and a deeper connection with potential clients who resonate with your message. Becoming someone they're looking to for inspiration, guidance, and best of all, they're looking to you for solutions. That's what we want, right? Because the solution is always our offer. However, these opportunities require preparation. When the moment comes, having a solid foundation can make all the difference in you being the choice, being seen as professional, and being ready to capitalize on the opportunity, okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about, or the first part we're going to talk about, is the inquiry, okay? Inquiry, when people inquire about you speaking, okay? Inquiry. So you should have an online form. All right. And that online form should gather preliminary information for speaker opportunities. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to streamline the inquiry phase, right? And we're going to ensure that we, each request that we receive it's giving us enough information to at least initially know whether or not we should proceed. Okay, so there's an initial step that not only saves time but allows both the speaker and the person requesting you to speak or the organization requesting you to speak to determine mutual alignment from the get-go. Okay, by capturing key details up front, speakers can evaluate whether the opportunity aligns initially with their expertise, audience, and availability. So ultimately leading to more productive conversations and engagements. All right. Now, one thing about it is I love having an online form. But you can also just have these questions somewhere ready so that somebody can like an assistant or something can send them over when people email and ask you to speak. Okay, so that's what's in the blog. Here on the morning show, we give you more. So we're going to go into detail. But first, if you don't know who I am, I'm your host, Shay Cannon. I'm an award-winning fractional chief operating officer with an exclusive clientele of 6 and 7-figure CEOs, living my best life just 3 blocks from the beach in Mexico. All right. I use my superpowers because, them award-winning fractional COO superpowers. I use them to create a foundation of business growth to position online service-based entrepreneurs like you to generate your first 6 figures in business and create the desired lifestyle of freedom for you, even if you don't have a team. Now, let's get into these details. But first, what I want to do is let's go into what do I consider or what can be considered as speaking. Okay, what is speaking? Because it's more than just being on a stage in person, but it's that too. Okay, so it could be industry webinars, online summits. You can guest on a podcast and be considered a speaker. You could be doing educational workshops and master classes, whether you're hosting or you're a guest for somebody else. You can be on panels, okay? All kind of panels, virtual panels, in-person panels, okay? And panels can even be those fireside chats, okay? Panel is just you and the other experts or giving your expertise on the same subject around the same time, all right? You could be doing a YouTube live. This is a YouTube live. I am currently speaking, right? You could do IG live, TikTok live, where you can host like Q&As, ask me anything type event, something like that. You can host it or you can be a guest for somebody else's. Niched Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups. If you talk to them, there are different professional groups and online communities that will be considered speaking. All right. Guest expert for online membership communities or online coaching groups. I do that a lot. I go and I speak in other experts groups all the time. Okay. Corporate wellness and professional development programs. We know Dr. LaFaro wants more of those. So you could definitely be speaking to those people. Even if you're doing like TEDx and local speaking events, those count as you being a speaker, right? Online courses and learning platforms. Sometimes your speaking is not live. It could be pre-recorded. This could be as like a guest lecturer, okay? It could be for your own programs, okay? Clubhouse room and Twitter spaces, any kind of audio only platform. When you go on those platforms, they still call it a stage, right? So you are speaking. Last but not least, live training and webinars on partner sites. For example, if you are in the HR space, you can go and speak for other platforms like SHRM, SHMR, I think it is, or SHRM is the HR association, right? So those are all the different kinds of ways that you can be speaking. Okay. So those are most of them. There are still some out there I did not cover, but those are most of them. All right. So now what I'm going to go into is I said you need to have an online form. Well, what is the initial information you need to ask for? Now, it's separated into initial information. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about the additional information because we just need enough information to know, do I need to keep talking to you? Right? That's the first thing. All right. And after that, I'm going to ask the in studio people, starting with Dewana and then Shawana, I'm going to ask, what are some of the speaking engagements you know that you need to put in place? And have you thought of these inquiry questions? Okay. So this is the inquiry information you need to be getting. You need to be getting the organization name. Okay. Sometimes people come to you as an individual and ask you to speak. What organization are they from? Okay. What is their website? All right. Who is the contact person? Just because they're reaching out to you don't even mean they're the contact person. So we need to get that person's name, their title, and their email address. Dr. Tachi said Wannabes Club. Okay. We also need to get a phone number. All right. What are the event dates? See, sometimes people are asking you to speak for something and the dates alone will knock them out the running. Okay. So what are the event dates? What is the event location? Sometimes it may be traveling too far. Sometimes you might not want to travel at all. Okay. What's the name of the event? What's the theme of the event? Okay. Or the subject matter. What is the event audience demographic? See, some of y'all are not asking who's about to be in that audience, and you about to go over there and waste your time because everything else will line up, and then you'll get there and nobody in the audience is your ideal client. So what you speaking for? What value are you getting out of it? Okay. What kind of speaking is it? Or what's the speaker type? What kind of event? Are you going to be doing keynote? Are you just going to be a featured speaker? Are you going to be a moderator? Are you going to be the closing speaker? You're going to be on a panel? Are you expected to do a workshop or a breakout session? You need to know what type of speaking they're asking you to do. You need to ask them, what is their speaker budget? Okay, yeah, we need to know that. That's in the initial questions, because sometimes if it's not a speaking, it's not a paid gig, we ain't got time, right? So sometimes that's because sometimes, guess what? If my people aren't in the audience, but you paying, I might can show up because that's still a win-win. But if you're not paying and my people not in the audience, what's I'm here for? What's the never am I supposed to do? Okay. Last but not least, what do they want you to talk on? What is the desired topic? Okay. I'm gonna go back through that. Organization name, organization website, contact person's title, contact person's email, contact person's telephone number, event date or dates, event location, event name, event theme, event audience demographic, speaker type, speaker budget, desired topic. Okay. So the question is for our in-studio people, what kind of speaking do you know you need to be doing? Have you heard of any of these inquiry questions? Do you think they're a good idea, right? Also, you always know I'm asking this, but what is your obstacle to speaking in the way that you know you need to be speaking? So whether it be for online courses or live trainings or the audio space, what is your obstacle to speaking? Okay, Dewana, what form of speaking do you think you could do? Is there any obstacle to it? And have you heard of any of these inquiry questions?
Good morning, everybody. No, I have heard all of the obstacle questions. The kind of speaking I know I need to be doing is definitely more online speaking, more um just um just like teaching types of speaking. And I think the inquiry questions are great, especially when you're talking about speaker budget. You always find out where it is. You always find out the organization. You always find out what the topic is. But sometimes we don't ask about a budget, and sometimes, we get shortchanged or we don't get paid at all, and we're just going, "Oh yeah, I'll come and speak at your event." So that's really, really a great question, because the way we really, really want to make sure our value is being served is to be valued and to get paid for our knowledge. So the only obstacles I have right now is just going through this transition phase and figuring out where I'm going from here.
Yes.
As I'm going through this phase. Yeah.
Gotcha. Understandable. All right, let's go to Shawana Kennedy Media. What speaking type are you most interested in? Do you have any obstacles to getting started doing it? And what do you think about those inquiry information as the initial information that you get?
Thank you for that question. That's a great one. Funny, I actually was just inboxed. Matter of fact, someone inboxed somebody that I know, and they was like, "Hey, you need to speak to them because they want you." Okay, cool. I immediately followed up, and I asked actually probably most of all of these questions that you just mentioned, like this just literally happened over the weekend because sometimes I travel to speak. So I make sure right away when I know who I'm talking to, what state they're in, and is this virtual? Like I ask, is it, virtual or local? And I make sure that they do remember that I no longer live there. And I have to ask about the budget and all of those things and what that looked like, because even if there isn't a cost because of something that I could sell while I'm there, they still need to at least get me there. Like they have to be responsible for my travel. And because in this case, it would be, for example, me going home, I wouldn't have anybody to pay for me any lodging because I have people. So I don't have a problem with speaking. I've been in corporate training, even doing the things that I do right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really for me again being visible so that people know that you are available to ask. And I have to even say this too, we really do have to keep doing what we're doing, because so that you can be top of mind for people. Even if they don't use you in 24, they may come back in 25 because you're the person they've been seeing, they've been hearing, and they've been following. Because this is a person that has followed me for several years, and now the opportunity, because they're on a board, to bring me in, they immediately thought about me. So I wanted to make sure I add that too. People are watching, they're looking, they're listening, and we just have to remember to stay consistent, especially if this lane of speaking is another revenue stream that we want to have under our belt.
Love it. Love it. And I think that we need to let people know when we speak too, because we can be referred to be a speaker. There's plenty of times when I have been on platforms that I always just ask, hey, are you still looking for speakers? Because I figure, hey, if you just reached out to me, maybe you still got some slots open. And so let me get some of my network in here. And so whenever they do, depending on what the the event is, I'm inboxing my folks and tell them, hey, this might be a good situation for you to speak. This is what, giving them a little bit about the information to start. But yeah, I love the fact that, and it's funny because it aligns with what you do, right, Shawana? Because it's helping you to get seen, be heard, and be paid, right?
And I'm able to use that as another example. Is we really have to be consistent, be present, because people are looking. And what I want to know your thoughts on those paid speaking, because sometimes depending on who it is, I get, of course, putting you on their platform. What's your
Yes.
thought on those paid speaking opportunities?
Well, I'm gonna tell you put a pin in that until tomorrow, because we're gonna go into detail on that, because that's a part of getting more information on whether or not it is gonna be a win-win, right? So put a pin in that for tomorrow, and don't forget to ask tomorrow, Shawana, because I am tackling that directly on tomorrow, because we're talking about actually evaluating the speaking opportunity. Should we do it? Should we not? So don't forget, bring that back up tomorrow. But even if you forget to bring it up, it's a part of the subject matter we're talking about tomorrow anyway. You can just let me know that it answer all the ways that you needed to answer. Okay. Dr. Tachi, what speaking type are you most interested in? Do you have any obstacles to getting started with that speaking type? And what do you think about the inquiry information you should be asking for initially?
I am wanting to get back. I've done like every type of speaking at this point. I'm wanting to get back into speaking at industry events. I will be doing that this next year in Vegas for NABBEA, but I haven't done it in a while because a lot of my speaking has been focused on others, just still industry stuff, but more things like podcasts, etc., and speaking opportunities. So now I actually want to get back into presenting at these conferences. And no, I think all of that is great, especially again, the what is the budget for your what's name? Because another thing with me is we as a professor, you speak a lot, but it's always generally for the good of the field to add to the discourse that's already out there. Usually it's not for pay. And so you don't come into it knowing and understanding, number one, that you can be make money doing this, and number two, what to charge. So it's unlearning the academic rubbish when it
Yes.
comes to speaking.
Ooh, and we're going to talk about fee structure tomorrow. So hold on tight, Dr. Tachi. All right. Cheryl, what speaking type are you most interested in? Do you have any obstacle to getting started with it? And what do you think about the inquiry information you should ask for initially?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I do all the different types of speaking. Been doing it for years. When it comes to I use contracts. I have style sheets, that kind of stuff. I will do um, like if it's a local thing and they asked me to speak, that kind of thing. They like to use the word honorarium, which means
Yes.
and
Yes.
my thing is, this is my business, and your honorarium is really nice, but this is my fee arrangements, et cetera, et cetera. Um, they pay for travel. If I do industry organizations as well, and that's starting back up. During COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I spoke, and it was all virtual. You still got paid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I had an incident with situation in Kansas City. We were doing a conference, and I asked them if it was going to be virtual because COVID was really amping up, and most of these hotels did not. When they negotiated contracts, there was nothing in there about in the event if something went down, say COVID, you
Yeah,
get your
yeah.
money back, you do this, you do that, blah blah blah. Well, in speaking, they didn't have the amount of people show up because and I mentioned to her, you may want to switch everything to virtual. I was actually virtual. I wasn't going in that mess, and because people at the last minute they may drop out, and that's exactly what happened. And so it was like, well, we don't really feel we need to pay you because that's, oh, no, 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 sweetie, we got a contract. You're going to pay me because I spoke. So
Mm-hmm.
contracts to me are very important. And I would definitely, I'm always looking at contracts because there's all kinds of things that happen and you can't be prepared, just off the cuff. So get the contract, run it through a serious lawyer, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't see any obstacles at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my major issues, especially when you're in demand, is taking on more than you have the capacity to handle,
Yeah.
and that can run you ragged. It can run you. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. The money is not worth my health. So anyway, I hope that answers your
Yeah.
question.
It did more than what we asked. So yes, thank you. All right, Kimberly. I know Kimberly is doing some Dream Funder stuff, so you can answer the question in the studio chat, and we'll share it with everybody. Kimberly, let's go to Dr. LaFera. Dr. LaFera, what type of speaking are you most interested in? Do you have any obstacles to getting started with it? And what do you think about the inquiry information that you should be asking for initially?
I'm most interested in corporate wellness and talks about resilience. And so I have up a form on my website. Oh, not a form. I have up on intake on my website, but it doesn't lead to a form. So yeah, all of that stuff is good because like that's what I eventually end up asking. So that'll add some automation and keep me from having to do as much work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Obstacle, I don't really have one. I just need to start telling people in my content now, and on LinkedIn now that like, yeah, they need to book me to speak and what I
Love
want
it.
to speak on.
All right, now look at you. I love it. So, do you have any, and this is a come off the mic, right? Dr. LaFera is already off the mic, so we can start with you. But what are your goals for speaking in this coming year? Or even in Q4? What are your goals for speaking? And I'll give you an example. For 2025, I want to speak 48 weeks out of the year. And when I say speak, I don't
Mm,
mean just in person. I'm talking about podcasts, all kind of stuff. I want to be booked for a podcast every week that I'm not on vacation.
I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you see,
Um,
Cheryl immediately put the heart up. Yes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
like that.
Which means I need to get started now, right? Like you have
yeah,
to stay ahead of the dates. So Q4 is going to be all about starting to book myself. I want to be on at least one thing per week so that my
right.
distribution of my expertise and my genius is really, really out there for 2025. What's your goal, Dr. LaFera?
My goal is pretty similar. I don't know about 48, but my goal is to use it as lead generation into my offer, either of the VIP day or like, maybe a workshop, or whatever offer I have at the time. So
Mhm.
and yeah, so I only work 2 weeks a month at the hospital, maybe. So I I want to at least be doing like at least maybe two or three of those days, like speaking and getting paid to do it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. All right, Shawana, did you have a goal for Q4 or 2025?
Wow, that number that was my eyebrows raised because I was actually talking to LeBron recently about this, amping up the speaking again. Um,
Mhm.
that's a nice number though, Shay.
I
Uh,
know.
wow. Definitely want to be speaking somewhere in some form every month.
Mhm.
Uh, and probably me thinking about managing myself with the other things that I want to make sure that Kennedy Media is upfront as it relates to visibility. That's where I don't know that I'll be as ambitious as you. Look, you see how my voice went up at the end of that.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely every month it needs to be where I want to have the schedule, how you said, let people know when and where you're speaking, where I'm able to have a robust list of saying these are the things and the places that I'm speaking for 2025. Because I believe that will even increase more visibility because of other things, i.e., having a, based off my colleagues here, membership. If we're doing all of these other things, people need to know and see us as the expert. So I'm even challenging myself in these last 60 plus days to do some things visibly to help promote that, to where again I would be the person that comes top of mind in all of this, so that
Exactly.
we're seen as the
Mhm.
expert. Yes.
Exactly. I love it. Anybody else want to share a goal for speaking, either Q4 or 2024?
I was gonna say something.
Okay.
So if like what Shawana was talking about, if you let and you were talking about if you let people know where you're speaking at, like if you have a list,
Mhm.
then you could set up impromptu events, like, in that place too, if you have an audience there, to say, I'm speaking over here, I want to do a meetup,
Yeah.
and charge a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and have them come, hear you. So yeah, I like that
Look, you can
idea
do
too.
that even if you're not speaking.
That is true. So
Cause
I'm
y'all,
working on some
cause look, you know, I was
event
doing
break,
it every TSP event, baby.
event break, like at least the local stuff, like
Mhm.
something.
Cool beans, love it. That was great value add,
I
Doctor.
have to ask Shay, with that thought and with what we know that you're preparing to do the
Mhm.
first quarter, will you be in Georgia for 2025?
I will be hitting Georgia in April, before I head out to Asia. So yes,
Okay, so you won't come to TSP during the calendar year of 25?
probably not, because I'm not gonna go all the way to Asia just to come back to Georgia. I'm gonna be in when I go to Asia. I'm gonna stay a year, do my little tour, and then come back.
Okay, okay.
So yeah,
No, I
it'll
was just
probably
thinking
be
about our meetup. That's where I was thinking
April.
about that.
Yep, it'll be April. All right, Dr. Tachi, you had come off the mic. Did you want to add something?
Yes. That first of all, that's really great. The 48 weeks per year. Is that what you said?
I did.
Okay. Yes, the 48 weeks per year, that's really great. In thinking about that, I'm like, okay, so I'm already doing like that. I think
Mhm.
I just would like to, as I said, add the whole industry angle and to what Dr. LaFera said, I was also thinking about, since I'm already going to be in Vegas in April doing that event, actually making something, whether it's an in-person course, whether it is a media scope thing or whatever the case may be, something that I can do while I'm out there to
Yeah.
capitalize off of that.
Love it. I love that. And so, yeah, I would get started now. You might even go ahead and get a reservation going for the least amount that you think would show up once you put your feelers out there, instead of waiting to the last minute, right? I love doing stuff like that. I really do. Cool beans. Okay, so let me show y'all a little something, because I know y'all like 48. How you gonna do that? Do you even know 48 events? Do you know? Okay, again, it includes podcasts. So let's see. Do y'all see Facebook? I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if you go to the search and you search podcast guest, do y'all see all this stuff that comes up? There are entire groups that are set up for you to join, okay? Where people in there have podcasts. And what we know is a lot more people have podcasts today than you used to. It is still a popular thing. So it should not be a problem for you to book a podcast a week at all. All these people are in there looking for podcasts. Let me see if I go into this, say visit. So I guess I'm already in this one. So yes, I'm already in this one. So look, looking for health and fitness entrepreneurs to feature as guests on my podcast. Okay. And that look international. I don't want to be stereotypical, but that look international speaking right there. Okay. Then you got they're welcoming new members. Hey, everybody, I want to pitch myself. So these people are talking about, hey, I want to be a guest on podcasts. And then you have people that are answering. She's doing her whole introducing her podcast, and she says she's looking for speakers. So people will tell you the kind of podcast they have. They're looking for speakers and the subject matters they're looking for, or the segments that they have, right? So because I am using speaking as top of funnel, where I want to introduce myself to new people and give them an invitation to continue the conversation with me, this is a great thing for me to do, right? It's very easy for me to jump on there, use these podcasts as a way to introduce myself to somebody else's audience and give them an opportunity, an invitation to come be a part of my community, to download a lead magnet, okay? So with your speaking, it's not always about can you sell, right? Or it's not always about pitching your offer. You have to think about it the same way you think about your ads. If they don't know you, they're less likely to buy. Okay. So if you're not getting paid for the gig itself, I wouldn't just sell. I would tell them about what my offer is, because I would want everybody to know what my offer is. But I really want them to join my community, get this lead magnet, right? Because what that does is put them on my email list. They join my community. It gives me a chance to nurture them to a point where they will buy from me in the future, right? If you only pitch what you have to sell to people who don't know you, whether it's an ad or you're speaking, what happens is you're missing an opportunity to connect with them and sell to them later. They don't know you yet. So if they say no to your offer, you now don't have access to that person again. Okay. So yeah, be sure to tell them what you have for sale, right? But don't go to in selling mode because the people don't know you. We want to let them know, as a part of our introduction of who we are. Hey, this is how we help, right? But I would love to connect with you. Join my community. I have a free gift for you. All I need is your email address and get this lead magnet. That allows you to get those people into your ecosphere, and you can continue the conversation later. So I want y'all to remember that. Kimberly said, not sure what I'd speak about regarding my product-based business. I definitely like to do more HR, CSE speaking, though. My obstacle is me. Yeah, it is, because we didn't talk to you about stuff that you can speak about. So get out your own way. And we're not talking about no HR if that's not the business that you focused on, Kimberly. So yes, there are plenty of of ways where you can go. If your people are in the audience, you can go and do fun podcasts. Those podcasts can be about being silly. They could be about relationships. They could be about whatever. Long as your people are in the audience, you just find a way to bring it right back around to your product. Okay. That is a must, y'all, because people have what they want from you, that they want you to give as value on their platforms for their people. And then there's why you're there. Okay. And we need to have a win-win. So sometimes, kind of like that media training, you need to learn how to speak about what they need, but also be able to bring it back around to who you are and what you do and what your offer is. Okay. So yeah. Dr. LaFerra said relationship podcast. Your feet are keeping you single, baby, especially if they ugly. That is so funny. Okay, let me see here. Anybody in the YouTube chat talking? So we got Glow over here. Good morning, Glow. Glow said, yeah, I'm in a couple of those groups. Interesting information. Yes, see, Glow, you have a podcast, so you're out there on your own podcast, but you need to be cross promoting and cross pollinating with other podcasts too. So that goes for you too. All right. I want to know, do you have any questions about types of speaking or the inquiry questions? But I'm gonna go ahead and go into announcements and give y'all a chance to think of any questions before we get out of here. Announcements. This is another one of those weeks where you want to get a copy of my show notes, right? For all the list of questions and all the tips and stuff are going to be in my show notes, because we give you more than what's on the blog on this show. So you definitely want the show notes. It's two ways to get it. Number one, join the group, shaycannon.info/group. They live in the files area of the group. Number two, you can get the entire morning show in your inbox. You will get an email in the morning reminding you to hop on to the YouTube live. You'll get an email in the afternoon that will have both a link to the replay and a link to my show notes. So go to shaycannon.com/show, sign up to get the morning show in your inbox. All right. Today we're having a get shit done work session from 1 to 5. It's for the paid membership only. If you want to be in the membership, go to shaycannon.com/membership. Okay. Wednesday, we are finally having our next level clinic. Okay. We had the clarity clinic. And so now that you have clarity, it's time to evaluate what level of business you are on and how you're going to get to the next level of your growth in your sales. Okay. So the sign up page will be ready for you on tomorrow. The event is free. However, the success kit that's going to be filled up with tools and have the replays, that's going to bring you ease of execution. Yeah, regular price is going to be $97. Everybody in our free mastermind group in our community, it's only going to be $47. If you're in the paid membership, it'll only be $27. If you're a high level client, you won't pay for the success kit at all. So get your change coupled up and ready for tomorrow, because it happens and it goes down on Wednesday night. All right. Cool beans. Any questions? Let me check over here on YouTube. Glow hasn't said anything. We got another person watching along with Glow, and they're not saying anything right now. In studio, any questions about the inquiry phase of speaking, what you should have on your online form or have ready to get information for, and the types of speaking? Cheryl, you were glitching your mic over there.
Well, I just wanted to say that I've been studying one of the most popular podcasts. I was going to say in America, but I think it's around the world, especially after I've seen all the people who, do clips and reels about them. I mean, it's all over the world. It's global.
Mhm.
And what I discovered, and this is something that we learned, back in one of our journalism classes, is that it's all entertainment. And so if you can relate to the audience, if you are bubbly naturally, so not, crazy, but bubbly, interesting, that kind of thing, people will come to see what you have because they like your delivery. And then it's kind of like giving them what they need wrapped in what they want. But at the end of the day, what I've discovered is that that's when people will come to you, and then you get to evaluate one of the, whether or not you're going to go with them or not. One of the other things is that it's also good. I tend to like to have people come to me because I've been on the road traveling, speaking, conference, all that good stuff for decades. And so what I will do is when you mentioned the 48, and I just thought, oh my goodness, because I'm getting ready to move back to the city, quote unquote, and I will throw up an event. Give me 2 weeks and we're good to go. And they are usually sold out. And there is scarcity. And that way, there's also in this city, there's also a lot of, I'm in publishing. There are a lot of writing groups and they invite me in. And one of the best ways, even with the non-writing groups, one of the best ways for anybody to become an expert, that you hate to use the word guru, is to write a book. And people think writing that book has to be 300 pages, 200. No, 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 no. You just need to be able to put your money where your mouth is. And that book will also get you into, I started several clients on university speaking, because most of them have uh, government money, so to speak, that, budgets, they have to use it or lose it. And you have a book, sell that book in the back of the room. I don't care if it's 30 pages, sell it in the back of the room. And I had one client, the university bought 800 copies of their book in order to disseminate to the people that were attending. It was absolutely fantastic. Of course, they paid for it. And we did a thing where instead of, there's ways where you can order the book and end up getting paid twice, two royalties, because you may order through Amazon instead of having it printed up and so on and so forth. So anyway, all I'm saying is don't forget that you can throw up an event and it can be very, very lucrative. And if you become, I mean, you're in Asia, oh, they will ask you to come and speak in London, in Paris, all that good stuff. Shawana, you're in Atlanta. That's a huge city. You you can become the expert right there in Atlanta, and the rest of the world will reach out to you too. And so you don't have to leave home per se, but there's still travel expenses. I use Uber, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. They will pay. You got what they want. So anyway, thank you for this one. You just ignited my week, because I was doing this last night, and when you said the 48, I had just figured out there's 48 weeks between now and September 26, 2025. And that's what I was working on. So thanks, Shay.
No problem, no problem. And it's funny because Dr. Toya is not with us this morning because she spoke in Paris, France, just a few days ago. So she is, I think she's traveling today. So yeah, those speaking opportunities are out there. We're going to talk more about it on tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to talk about evaluating the speaking opportunity. And that's where we're going to get into some of the things Shawana said. We're going to repeat some of the things that Cheryl said, because y'all know Cheryl always ahead of us. So yeah, we're going to talk about that on tomorrow. So if no one has any questions before we get out of here? Let me double check YouTube. No questions on YouTube. All right. Well, I look forward to talking more about evaluating speaking gigs on tomorrow. The studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have